Okay, in this lesson what we're going to learn to do is to change the colour of this car. We're going to convert it to a lab mode from RGB colour mode. And we're going to change it to lab just to make it look a little bit better colour wise. And sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. It's, you know, there's all different techniques for different colours and different images. So it's nice to learn more than one method. And we're going to be using curves to change this. The first thing I want to do is to make a selection of the car and the areas that we want to actually colour. So I'm going to make a rough selection, and then we can take away areas if they're affected. And to do that, we're going to use the quick selection tool, and I'm going to click select subject first of all and see what that does for me. And it's made a pretty good selection, so I'm just going to go with that. I don't think I need to do much with that. There's a little bit there that I want to get rid of, so I'll click on there and we'll just remove that little bit. Well, everything else doesn't look too bad. We can always adjust that later. So I'm going to duplicate that layer, and then I'm going to add a mask. So we've just masked the car there. That'll just save altering any of the background on there. So then the important thing is I'll click on the actual image, and I'll click on the eyedropper tool, and what we're going to be doing is to clicking on a colour on the car, and then we're going to be changing that colour. Now to do that we need to get a colour that is an average of all these different colour reds on there, or as close as we can get. And there is quite a big difference here, so I'm wondering whether we may use a different approach on this one rather than use the eyedropper to start with. But it's important to know what colour that is. We will get the average colour, so I'm going to click. We need to select 31 by 31. That is like the averages of the averages, if you want to put it like that. And we need to click on an area. If we look at all these different red colours, we need to be clicking on an area that's about mid-tone. So these are very light tones here. It's a bit darker here, so I would say something around this area, or maybe here, will give us a mid colour. So we'll just select there, then we click on here, and what I want to do is to read the lab settings. The LAB colour space settings are on here, and the A and the B. So the A is 60 and the B is 32. So those are the two colour settings that will give us that colour basically that's there. So I'll click on OK. No, I don't. Sorry, what we want to do now is to select the colour we want to change it to. So let's change it to blue. So we'll pick this colour blue. So I'll click there, and now we look at the settings again. For the A, it's 48. So I'm writing these down. It's important you write them down. And for the B, we want -89. Okay, so we click on OK. Now we change this picture to the LAB spacing. So I'll go to Image, Mode, LAB, Lab Colour. I don't want to flatten the image, because we've got the two layers there. And we're working on this. Make sure that you haven't got the mask selected. You're actually working on the picture part by clicking on that. Where have my adjustments gone? Here we are. I've got a different setup here than I've got on my other computer, so I'll get lost. There we go. So we got the curves. Now on the curves, first thing we need to do is to change to the A channel. And then we need to click on anywhere on this line. And what that does, it allows me to input text, or numbers rather, into this area at the bottom. If you don't do that, if you don't click on that line, you can't do that. So we're on the A channel, and the input is the colour, the original colour of this red, which we wrote down as 60. So that was the original colour. So I type in 60 there, and the colour I want to change it to on the A channel was 48. So 60, 48. Now we need to go to the B channel, and the input on that was 32, and the output was minus 89. Now, the reason I'm not getting all of that is because when I've selected the medium colour, it hasn't picked up all of those colours, so the medium probably wasn't correct. But let's have a look what we can do now. If I go to the layers, just click on the curves there. Let's just adjust this. So I go to the B, that's the one, this is going to be the one with the blues. You can see if I drag this down slightly, I'm going to get more blue on there. Let's go to the A. There we are. Now we're getting all the blues. So if I'm missing some, I can drag it and look by eye. But that's giving us, that's just adjusting it so we can get that colour all over. Okay, so there we go. Now if we go back to our layers, what I want to do is to delete this layer mask on the curves layer. So I'm going to delete that, and I want to copy this one onto this one. So the way I do that is I click on this mask, I hold down Alt or Option, and keeping that down I drag, and that has now copied it onto there. Okay, now we haven't masked out all of the areas, so that would be the next part, is to mask out these little areas, and we can do that in various ways. What I could do is actually use the curvature pen tool, and it is a tricky one to do this, changing the colour, so it's nice that I've picked this because we've had to make that curves adjustment, because getting the median colour on there in the first instance, if you don't get that correct, that's how you adjust it. You adjust those curves because it wasn't covering all of the red area that we'd selected. But now we've got the colour that we want, we've got the blue, and now I'm going to draw around these areas using the curvature pen tool. If you've not used this tool before, then you can go onto my other videos and you will find instruction on how to use that. Okay, and then I'm going to select, so I'm just selecting the grid area. The curvature pen tool makes a nice job of making selections like this, especially. Let's just look at these areas, so the lights as well. If you struggle to see on this, you could actually turn the one layer off while you do this so you can see the original image, and it may make it a bit easier. We could actually do that at this point. If we go to the layers and we just hide that for now, and that will allow me to see what colours are red, because you can see I've actually gone over on areas, so it helps to see the original colour. So by hiding that, you can get basically what you want. This area here, we need to include this. That's okay, because we can come out there. Right, so we've got now those areas selected. Just need to click on this because it's not quite on the inside of that red area. There you go. I can always adjust the mask later on, but let's go for that now. So what I need to do now is to select the path. So I'll click on paths and I hold down Command and click, or you can right click on there, right click on here and click on make selection, just for the window users, if obviously you haven't got the command key. So there we've got the selection, and basically what we want to do is to go to that mask now. So if we go to the layers and we click on this mask, because that's the curves layer, so we click on the curves layer mask, and what we want to do is to click the paint bucket tool, change the foreground colour to black, bring the colour back on first of all. There we are. So we bring the colour on, click on the eye, click on the mask, and then we need to click, and that will paint in those areas. I missed the one light on that side, but that doesn't matter, we can put that right. So if I just go to select, deselect, you can see I've got a few little areas around there. Oh, that's just my mask. So I can just, if I go back to my paths, I can drag this down now to the bin because we don't need it anymore. So that wasn't paint, that was the actual tool. And if I zoom in on this light now, a few little areas. Let me just delete that area, so I can just get a black brush. So we need the foreground colour to be black. There we go. Go to the layers, make sure I'm on the mask, which I am. And I can just make sure that we're on normal mode for this, and then just paint out the area of the light. So opacity needs to be on 100%, there we go. And it's a good idea if when you're doing this and you're painting on the mask is to keep a hard brush, so an hard edge brush rather than a soft one, because using a soft brush you're not going to get to the edges and delete those areas. Yeah, and I mean you can take your time and really zoom in on that. I think this area as well. No, that was red originally, so I can just click and Command Z on that. That's correct. This area we need to add because that should be red. That should be blue. There's also a little bit showing there. So for that we change the colour to white. I'm going to use a smaller brush here and just paint over this area. Just a little bit down here, so back to white. Changing from black to white, black to delete any areas, white to add any areas. click the hand tool, and there we go. There's our newly coloured car. I think it looked better red actually, but it shows you how to change the colour. But the beauty of this is now we've got that, is that we can go back to our layers, and if I'm not happy with the colour, I can always change the colour simply by clicking on this. Let's move this out of the way, and if I go to the lightness and say, well, that's a bit, I want it a bit darker than that, I can bring the lightness of that down, and that's really giving it a bit more kick, I think, by bringing the lightness down. So you can do that. You can also go to the A and B channels, and you can change the colours by varying this as well. So we can go to the A, we can go to the B. Also, sometimes you can use colour modes, and that will change things as well. So if we go to the different modes, multiply is not going to work really, but linear burn and darker colour will. Overlay will give you this weird effect. Soft light will give you, you know, all these different ones. Probably U is a nice one to use. That will bring out, if we click on U, that will bring out the colour much better. So that's a much more natural effect, I think, and I think we just missed a little bit. You can see a little bit of red coming through, and again, that's easy put right. We can go to the mask there, and we can use a white brush, and we can just simply paint that back in. A little bit there, and a little bit along here. And it doesn't matter too much on this. If we overlap, and see them overlapping the blacks, it's not going to affect that using this setting. We can be a lot more loose with this than on the original mask. So changing it to U is really nice, because we can be, you know, we can actually come over the line if we need to. So let's just double click the hand tool, and that looks really natural, looks really good. And we can still adjust those curves. So if we wanted darker or lighter, so we go to the layers and double click back on this, we can still change that blue. We have to go to the A settings, and we can change the colour. Look at that, some beautiful colours there. So now we're on the U, we're getting much more better settings, and you can see I'll totally change the colours. So the U colour mode will give much better realistic effects, because it's not arranging the luminosity. We're still getting all these shiny bits coming through, and it looks much more natural. So you go into blue, we've now got this sort of purple colour that looks really nice. So there's the original, there's that one. So it's very, very natural using the U's. And then, because we're working in lab, I can flatten the layer. And then we can go back to image, mode, RGB. And now we're in RGB, we can save it as a JPEG or whatever in the correct format. So that's how to change colour and get a really nice looking effect, realistic effect. Changing to lab and using that. Okay, so that was basically what we went over in the class. We did alter a few other things as well, but I think that's probably good enough. I don't think you need to alter anything in that case. That's giving us the best control to combine the U with the colour curves. Really gives that really nice natural effect. Now I will put that image for the students up into the folder, so you can use that. This is a free usage image that I've downloaded from Pexel, so no copyright is being broken in this case, so it's okay to use this.